Hello everyone, DarkOfAllTrades here. Now I put out a few videos explaining some topics, and that has sparked some excellent discussion. Thank you all for being open-minded and understanding, as well as more cordial than any other YouTube comment section I've ever seen. I've seen some bad exchanges in my day, and even when people disagree on my videos, everything remains so much more polite than it could have. This means so much to me that you are all willing to do so. Keep it up. Today though, I'm going to get back to my making responses. People seem to really enjoy my take on them, so I want to keep encouraging not only discussion, but others' opinions on what they see, as well as where we agree and don't. Today's video is a short called, "You're Not an Atheist." That has a whopping 4 million views. Holy buckets! The channel is Hamsa's Den, which touts 306,000 subscribers. The person appears to be a Muslim, and apparently even has an Answering Atheists section. It looks like longer form videos, so I'm not really inclined to watch hours of them to find the relevant bits, but I may do so if there is interest. It is generally known in the counter-apologetic circle that Muslim apologists are worse at apologetics than their Christian counterparts. They use a lot of the same ideas, but somehow make them worse. But I don't know this person, and I don't want to assume any of his positions. What do you predict his position will be? Will it be something new? Will it be a tired old argument that we've heard many times that it is route? Let me know your initial thoughts in the comments below. But for now, let's take a look and see why I'm not an atheist.
There's no such thing as atheists.
Okay, this person claims I, and likely many of you, don't exist. At best, I'm guessing he's messing with the wording, playing word games. This could also be a no true Scotsman fallacy. If he's going to define atheists out of existence, then maybe by his definition, there may not be such thing as atheists. I don't know. If someone tries to tell you this, you can say something like, I identify as an atheist because I do not believe in the existence of gods or deities. It is a personal belief that I have arrived based on my own assessments and understanding. Remember that nailing down what is meant by the word atheist is key to having a clear and honest discussion. Maybe he'll clarify what he means. Let's just see.
You're not an atheist, you're agnostic.
Yep, I was thinking it was going to be this kind of argument. Atheist and agnostic cover different grounds. Let's take a look at what the American Psychological Association says about this distinction. Quote, technically, an atheist is someone who doesn't believe in a god, while an agnostic is someone who doesn't believe it is possible to know for sure that a god exists. It's possible to be both, an agnostic atheist who doesn't believe, but also doesn't think we can ever know whether a god exists. A Gnostic atheist, on the other hand, believes with certainty that a god does not exist, end quote. The source for this is in the description, so one could be an agnostic and an atheist. They're not mutually exclusive. In this case, agnostic is an adjective describing the subcategory of atheist, just like one could be an agnostic theist if they believe a god exists, but doesn't know or doesn't think it's possible to know for sure. I've covered this in many other videos, so I'm not going to harp on this.
If you define an atheist as someone that believes that there is no God, I'm not an atheist. If you define an atheist as someone that doesn't believe
You're agnostic, mate.
for a God,
You're agnostic.
Yeah, telling someone what they are when they're trying to explain their position is not a good look for you, mate. There are a number of ways one could respond to this. Again, simply clarifying your position, as this person was trying to do, is a good step. One can be respectful and disagree with meanings. Try saying something like, I believe that everyone should have the freedom to define their own beliefs and identities. From there, ask for understanding from your interlocutor for your self-identity. If definitions get in the way of the discussion, throw the wording out and replace it with something different like banana sandwich. And by banana sandwich, you mean one who doesn't believe in the existence of gods or deities. It seems like this guy is trying to just diminish the idea of atheism. I'm not sure how this would help his argument, because whether or not someone uses the label atheist doesn't affect whether he believes or not. Though I can see how this would be beneficial for him if he's trying to convince someone for demographic reasons. The less people that identify as atheist, the better for religion. I think we need more out atheists. While I understand that not everyone can be out safely, there are a number of reasons why one should be if they can. I'll make a short list here, and if there's interest, I can discuss them later. I am an outspoken atheist in my personal life as well as here on the YouTubes, though the decision of whether to be out as an atheist should be made based on careful consideration of the potential benefits and risks, as well as one's individual circumstances and values. But I'm a smidgen off topic. Let's get back to the point.
I'll tell you what you are, and I'll demonstrate you are. Fair enough?
No, not fair enough. Though if you let me tell you what you are and accept whatever label I want to give you, then maybe. Of course, if I gave you an insensitive label based on what I perceive as your religious beliefs, would you just accept it because that's how I defined you? I don't think so. So how about you let the guy identify as he would like and not try to dictate what he is based on what you want him to be? He doesn't need to conform to your definitions, just like you don't need to conform to his.
So, do you believe God exists?
No.
This answer, by most definitions, makes him an atheist. As I alluded to before, and backed up by the APA, theism and atheism refers to what one believes, while Gnostic and agnostic refers to knowledge. So this guy is an atheist. Whatever subcategory of atheist he is an entirely different discussion. So why is this wrong, Hamza?
Right. Do you say God doesn't exist, or could God exist?
This wording can get a bit confusing in the moment, which is why I laid it out here plainly. Let me try to break this down a bit more. One could say that something doesn't exist, but could. This is the elephant in the bathtub example I used a long time ago. I know there is no elephant in my bathtub for all practical purposes. However, I'm not looking at my bathtub, and so there could be one popping in and out of existence like a virtual particle. I don't believe it, and I say that there isn't because of a number of reasons. Any God example isn't even as likely as an elephant in my bathtub. For one, we have concrete evidence that elephants exist and that I have a bathtub. We have zoos, so it is possible that an elephant is nearby. There's nothing physically unnatural about an elephant being in my bathtub, though it would be very strange and super unlikely. If we had any evidence even remotely close to this, then maybe there would be a good point here, but we don't. So even if this guy says, a God could exist, I don't know, then he would still admittedly not believe a God exists and thus fall under the umbrella of atheist. Thus, there is such thing as an atheist. But how are you going to spin this? Is this going to be exactly where we all think this is going to go from here? Probably.
Theoretically, God could.
So you don't know if God exists or not?
Sure.
So you're agnostic? Okay.
Agnostic.
All right. So that's agnostic.
That was quick.
Yes, you are technically correct. This person would be considered an agnostic. But he would also be considered a human. I would guess he would be considered a man, too. He's probably also a student. All of these are subcategories that he falls into, just like agnostic would be a subtype of atheist or theist. This guy is trying to muddy the waters, and I'm not sure why. As I stated before, belief and knowledge are different things. Also, atheism is not a monolithic position, as there are different shades of atheism. Also, again, if someone believes that certain knowledge about the existence of gods is unattainable but does not believe a god exists, that doesn't make them not an atheist anymore. Let me turn this argument around to see if anyone would agree. Theists don't exist, and I'll demonstrate it. You believe a god exists? Yes. But you don't know if a god exists or not. It is possible that the god you believe doesn't exist. Yeah, God could potentially not exist, so you're an agnostic and not a theist. Is that something that you would accept? Do theists no longer exist because one person isn't sure? No, this is a terrible argument.
So, does it matter?
Yes.
Yes,
Why?
because we know.
Because you don't even know your own position in that sense.
Oh my glob, yes he does. How belittling can this guy get? He explained it pretty clearly to you. Simply because you want to deny his label and put a different label on that he might not use does not mean he doesn't know his own position. This is literally him saying, you don't know your own position because I don't agree with your definitions for your own labels. Just a blatant misunderstanding of what words mean at absolute best, and likely actually malicious word games. And that's the end of his video. As most of you are likely already champing at the bit to do so, I would say I have a lot of questions I could ask in response. Initially, what would he have said if the response to this question,
Right. Do you say God doesn't exist, or could God exist?
was, if I say God doesn't exist, would that make me an atheist? Even if he didn't have an explanation as to why a God doesn't exist, simply believing and knowing a God doesn't exist with or without adequate justification for this Hamza guy wouldn't change the label of atheist, likely by his own definition. What do you call someone who doesn't believe a God exists without the information of whether the person knows for sure or not? What exactly is your criteria for one to be an atheist, which excludes literally everyone as you claim there's no such thing as an atheist? So what if you find yourself in this situation? There are a myriad of questions one could bring up. Let's assume that this guy is honest. A stretch, I know, but suspend your disbelief. What are some questions you can ask an honest interlocutor? How do you define atheism and agnosticism? Do you consider belief and knowledge to be the same thing? Could someone be both an atheist and an agnostic simultaneously? What is your perspective on strong versus weak atheism? Do you believe that all atheists are certain about the non-existence of gods? Can someone's self-identification override your definition of their beliefs? Are labels rigid or flexible when it comes to belief systems? Can we agree that terminology is not universally standardized? What is the main purpose of using these labels in this discussion? These questions are designed to get through the semantic games and nail down the interlocutor's beliefs and prevent goalpost moving. A lot of the time, people simply have a misunderstanding of what it means to be an atheist. I know countless people who are raised to believe that atheists are all evil and want to destroy religion. Really, most atheists just want you to not bother them with your religion. That's it for this one. So what did you think? Do you think that Hamza made some good points and maybe atheists don't actually exist and we're all actually agnostics? Or do you think he was playing word games and tried to define people out of atheism? What do you think the purpose of doing this is? Let me know in the comments below. I found his argument was so flawed that I could use it to prove the exact opposite position doesn't exist either. I don't know why this guy has so many views. It isn't a good short, and the guy was condescending from start to finish. If this content resonated with your personal identity, you can show you liked it by hitting the like button. If you like the idea of discussing belief and knowledge, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. An extra special thanks to my patrons, Calamitous Anima, Long-Haired Lefty, Musical Ocelot, Jammin' Bomb, and Kai Henningsen, who are the universally standardized terminology that keeps my channel coherent. If you want to be a flexible label at the end of my videos here, you can join them for as low as $1 a month at patreon.com/DarkOfAllTrades. All of this support encourages me to keep going, even when I'm not confident in my own capabilities. Thank you all so much. And as always, keep learning.